He also warned that fixation is death, while flexibility is life. We love routines until they become cages. The point of a routine isn't to worship the steps, it's to protect the mission. When conditions change, the steps must obey. If rain ruins your run, you don't congratulate the weather. You move iron in a room and keep the promise. If a meeting swallows your morning, you don't recite a poem about defeat. You block 20 minutes and attack the single leverage task. Discipline that only operates in perfect conditions is cosmetic. Real discipline inherits the day as it is and insists on forward motion anyway. Timing is important in all things, he wrote. Timing isn't luck, it's the dividend of attention you paid yesterday. Walk into your own life with his calm, and you start to notice the useless, the argument you rehearse in your head that never changes outcomes, the clutter that steals seconds every morning, the app you open when you're not ready to face the hard thing yet. Do nothing which is of no use is not brutality, it's tenderness toward your future time. Every useless minute compounds into a useless day. Every protected minute becomes capacity you can spend where it counts. This isn't about monastic living. Musashi was a calligrapher and a sculptor. He didn't delete beauty, he deleted noise. He widened his competence so that, in his words, knowing the way broadly, he could see it in all things. If you only practice in one narrow setup, you need the world to cooperate. Build broadly, and you can cooperate with the world as it is. There's a quiet courage in how he handled fear. He didn't brag about fearlessness. He converted fear into preparation. Before Ganryū-jima, he studied Kojiro's habits, the length advantage, the reach, the signature stroke. In other duels, he used terrain, light, and angle. Preparation is what lets you act without drama. People imagine discipline as a personality. It's an agreement. Do the work before the performance, so the performance looks like nature. In your language, that's reading before the meeting, rehearsing the opening until your voice doesn't shake, laying your clothes the night before, writing the first sentence of tomorrow's hard email tonight. Tiny acts, repeated, become a wall you can lean on when the wind rises. If he sat across from you now, I doubt he'd offer comfort. He'd offer instructions. Start smaller than your pride prefers, and continue longer than your boredom permits. Keep your tools simple and your standards high. Measure by actions, not fantasies, by timing, not talk. Identity is evidence. You become the person who moves at the time you said you would move. Simplify. One path today, then widen once you can walk it with a steady step. And do not try to think yourself into courage. Courage is made by the hour. One clean cut through one piece of resistance, then another, until the blade of your will holds an edge. It's tempting to believe a life like his required isolation from ordinary concerns. Yet he kept returning to the world, students, patrons, practical work, without being absorbed by it. That's the balance to aim for. In the world, not consumed by its noise. Think lightly of yourself, cures ego. Think deeply of the world, calls you to service. Let your work serve something larger than your mood. Let your standard be larger than your appetite for ease. Anchor discipline in service, family, craft, community, and the days get cleaner. The question shifts from, do I feel like it, to, does this honor the way I chose? If you want a starting rule pulled straight from his spine, take this. Stop negotiating once the decision is made. Decide the night before when you will act. When the time arrives, act. No drama, no delay. If your mind protests, thank it for its warning and move anyway. If you fail, fail fast and re-enter. If you succeed, bow quietly to the rhythm and prepare the next beat. Keep your eyes on the pattern, not the applause. Another rule. Cut one useless thing today. A drawer you always pour through, a tab you always open, a phrase you always use to excuse the next delay. Remove it with the calm hand of a craftsman. Feel how your day gets lighter when you stop carrying what does not help you carry your life. There's a point where discipline stops looking like effort and starts looking like air, so natural you barely notice it, so constant it becomes the background of everything. That's the level that unsettles people, because it doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait for motivation, permission, or applause. It just is. When I think about that kind of discipline, I see a lone figure walking before dawn, a wooden practice sword in one hand, silence in the other. Miyamoto Musashi, not the myth polished by centuries, but the human being who built himself into a force through thousands of quiet, ruthless decisions. He wasn't born extraordinary. He chose to become someone ordinary people could not move. Musashi didn't collect routines. He carved away. He lost his parents young, wandered without a fixed home, and taught himself through combat and craft. It's easy to romanticize the duels, the undefeated aura, the island, the famous opponent, but the secret was always the unglamorous repetitions before anyone watched. He practiced footwork until it disappeared into instinct. He trained his grip until it stayed honest under rain, sweat, and fear. He studied rhythm as if it were another blade. Near the end of his life, he wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." At first it sounds severe, then it sounds like freedom. Cut what wastes you, and your days begin to move with clean lines. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop scrolling through moods as if one of them will grant you a new fate. You move. Most of us wait for conditions to line up. Better sleep, kinder weather, a more forgiving schedule. Musashi made a standard that functioned regardless of circumstance. Consider the duel on Ganryū-jima in 1612 against Sasaki Kojiro. Ganryu himself, famous for his long nodachi, nicknamed the drying pole. On the boat ride to the island, Musashi carved a bokken from an oar, judging its length to outrange Kojiro's blade by a decisive margin. He arrived later than expected. Some say he used the sun and the tide to his advantage, others say it was psychology. But beneath the legend sits a simple principle. Your tools are secondary to your timing, and your timing belongs to your discipline. Kojiro drew and cast away his scabbard, the gesture of a man who would not need it again. Musashi stepped in with a single strike measured to time and distance, and ended a story that the crowd thought might take all morning. People fixate on the drama. What they miss is the spine beneath it. Calm preparation, adaptive design, and the refusal to be rushed by anyone's expectations but his own. Ask him how to build that steadiness now, and I doubt he'd hand you a checklist. He'd point you toward directness. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Lightness toward your own moods, depth toward reality. When the alarm rings, you don't negotiate your identity with your feelings. You enact it with your feet. When the day throws a surprise, you don't collapse into a script about unfairness. You adjust your stance. This isn't coldness. It's devotion to the work over the performance of suffering. If you treat inconvenience as an insult, your nervous system will end up running your calendar. Treat inconvenience as terrain, and training begins. Discipline at Musashi's level is less about intensity and more about design. He developed a style that used two swords at once, Niten Ichi-ryū, two heavens as one, not to look impressive, but to erase delay between intention and action. Two hands, two edges, one mind. You can bring that into modern life without touching steel. Pair actions so momentum is built into the day. Water with waking, planning with first light, movement with thinking, reflection with night. Remove single points of failure that let you hide from yourself. Stage your environment so the next right move is frictionless, and the wrong move feels like lifting a stone uphill. When your surroundings carry your intention, willpower becomes a supplement, not the main fuel. He wrote, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." In combat, that meant reading the rhythm beneath a man's posture, the fatigue behind his eyes, the opening that appears for half a breath and never returns. Outside combat, it means listening for the hidden structure of your days, where energy leaks, where noise pretends to be urgency, where you keep repeating a mistake and calling it fate. Most people notice the visible obstacle. Discipline attends to the invisible pattern. If you always feel rushed, look for the decisions you delay until they become emergencies. If you always feel tired, audit the tiny costs you ignore. Light, sleep, food, the glass glow that steals your night. The blade that cuts cleanest in life is attention sharpened by honesty. And remember the oar turned into a sword. Ganryū-jima is a reminder that you won't always have the tool you wanted, but you will always have the chance to shape what you do have. The day gives you an oar, time chopped by interruptions, a gym that's closed, a room full of distractions. Your job is to carve. Set a timer for 20 minutes and turn the oar into a blade of focus. Choose body weight movements when weights are out of reach. Choose a notebook when a perfect app is another hour lost. Choose walking calls when sitting means sleep. Choosing is carving. Carving is victory. There is a level of discipline that looks frightening from the outside because it shows how soft our excuses have become. From the inside, it feels like quiet dignity. You are no longer tossed by every mood. You carry yourself like someone who has made a vow and intends to keep it. You're not louder, you're clearer. You're not angrier, you're steadier. That's the invitation Musashi leaves across centuries, and Kojiro's fallen scabbard is the punctuation mark on it. Build a way that can walk through any weather. Train until your movement is simple. Simplify until your movement is true. Attend to rhythm until timing becomes a friend. Do nothing which is of no use. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. And when the hour you chose arrives, move, with the calm of a person who has already become the decision they made.